Welcome to Sleep Begins. The day is over, the night is here, and it's time to give yourself permission to rest. Settle beneath your blankets, get comfortable, and allow the noise of the day to slowly fade away. Whether you're settling into bed or simply looking for a moment of peace, you've found the perfect place to unwind. Now, let's begin. Far to the north, past the last quiet village and the last row of snow-dusted pine trees, there stood a glass house that glittered like a jewel box in the snow. Its walls were made of curved glass, frosted at the edges, and warm golden light glowed softly from somewhere deep inside, even on the coldest nights. This was the home of Princess Eowyn, whom everyone in the kingdom called the Snow Princess. Not because she was cold, not at all. She had, in fact, the warmest heart in the coldest season, and everyone who ever met her seemed to leave feeling a little lighter than before. Every winter morning, long before the sun had even decided whether it wanted to rise, Eowyn would wrap herself in a soft blue coat, the color of a quiet evening sky, and step outside into her glasshouse gardens. Her boots made small, gentle crunching sounds in the fresh snow. Her breath drifted upward in slow, silvery clouds. And with every step, the world seemed to grow just a little more peaceful. The glasshouse itself sat quietly at the edge of a wide, snow-covered meadow, its curved glass walls catching the very first hints of morning light. Icicles hung along its lower edges, thin and delicate, glinting softly whenever the sun peeked out from behind the clouds. Inside, the air always felt warm and gentle, like stepping into a room where a fire had been burning softly all night long. Now, these were not ordinary gardens, not even close. In Eowyn's glasshouse, flowers bloomed because of the frost, not despite it. Silver ferns, delicate as lace, curled slowly open only when the morning air turned crisp and cold. Along the winding stone path grew blue-white roses called frost roses, and they unfurled their petals one by one. So slowly you almost couldn't see it happening, as snow gathered gently on the glass roof high above. And in the very center of the garden, where the light always seemed to pool like warm honey, stood the hush tree. The hush tree was old, older than the glass house, older, some said, than the kingdom itself. Its branches were pale silver, and its leaves shimmered faintly, like moonlight on still water. But its most special feature was its tiny, bell-shaped blossoms, which almost never made a sound. They only rang on the stillest of nights, on nights when the wind had gone completely quiet, when the snow fell so softly you could barely see it moving, and when everyone and everything in the garden had settled into a deep and peaceful calm. Eowyn's job, the job she loved more than any other in the whole wide world, was simply to notice things. She noticed which frost rose was just about to bloom, and she always made sure to be sitting quietly nearby when it finally did, so that it never had to open all alone. She noticed when the little robins outside grew hungry in the early morning cold, and she would leave small piles of seeds along the windowsills, humming softly to herself as she worked. She noticed when Marmalade, the plump, gray glasshouse cat, wanted a bit of company. On those afternoons, she would settle into the big, cushioned chair by the warm stove in the corner, and Marmalade would curl into her lap, purring low and slow, like a tiny, contented engine winding down for the day. She noticed the way sunlight moved slowly across the garden floor as the short winter day passed, sliding gently from one stone to the next, like a warm hand trailing across a quilt. She noticed the particular hush that settled over everything just before the first snowfall, a stillness so complete you could almost hear it arrive. She noticed, most of all, how good it felt to simply be still. She noticed the way steam curled up from her mug of warm cider each morning, disappearing softly into the cold air above the garden path. She noticed how the frost gathered in delicate patterns along the edges of the glasshouse windows, like lace someone had painted overnight while everyone slept. She noticed how the whole garden seemed to breathe a little slower once the sun had fully set, settling into its evening quiet the way a tired child settles into a soft pillow. Some days she would simply sit by the pond with a warm blanket over her knees, doing nothing at all except listening to the soft creak of ice settling, listening to the faraway sound of sleigh bells drifting up from the village below, listening to her own slow, steady breathing, in and out, like the tide of a very calm sea. In the afternoons, when the pale winter sun slipped low across the sky, Aloan liked to walk the garden's outer edge, where the glass curved gently down toward the frozen pond. She would sit on a smooth stone bench there, wrapped in a thick knitted shawl, and simply watch the light change. The ice on the pond was clear and still, like a sheet of pale blue glass. Sometimes, if she sat quietly enough, she could see tiny fish moving slowly beneath it, unbothered by the cold, drifting through the water the way clouds drift through a calm sky. She liked this time of day best. The garden grew hushed in the afternoons, as though the whole glass house were taking a long, slow breath. The birds settled into the pine branches outside. The frost roses folded their petals just slightly, resting before evening. Even the wind, which liked to hum gently around the glass walls in the mornings, grew soft and slow. On evenings like these, Aloan would light the small lanterns that hung along the garden path, one by one, her steps unhurried, her hands warm inside her woolen mittens. Each lantern glowed a gentle amber, casting long, soft shadows across the snow-dusted stones. By the time she reached the last one, the whole garden seemed to glow like something out of a half-remembered dream. It was on one such evening, with the lanterns freshly lit and the sky beginning to deepen into a soft, dusky blue, that the very first heavy snow of the season began to drift down outside. A small girl from the village, bundled up in a red woolen scarf, had wandered a little farther than usual on her walk home. She wasn't lost, not exactly. She simply found herself standing at the edge of the glass house gate, drawn forward by the soft, golden light glowing warmly through the frosted glass panes. She had never seen anything quite like it before. Aloan noticed her there, standing small and curious in the falling snow, and she gently opened the door. "Would you like to come in and rest for a little while?" Aloan asked, her voice soft and unhurried, the way falling snow sounds when it lands on a quiet street. The girl nodded, her eyes wide, and stepped carefully inside. The warmth of the glass house wrapped around her at once, gentle as a blanket fresh from the dryer. "It's so warm in here," the girl whispered, "and so quiet. It's the quietest place in the whole kingdom, Ilawan said, smiling softly. "That's what makes it a good place to rest." She led the girl slowly along the winding path, past the silver ferns and the slowly blooming frost roses, until they reached the very center of the garden, where the hush tree stood tall and silver and still. "This tree only rings," Ilawan explained gently, sitting down on a small wooden bench beneath its branches. "On the stillest of nights, when everything and everyone has grown calm and quiet and at peace." The little girl sat down beside her, tucking her mittened hands into her lap. "Do you think it will ring tonight?" she asked softly. "Let's find out together," Elowen said. "All we have to do is wait and be still." So they waited. Outside, the snow kept falling, softer and softer, drifting down in slow, lazy spirals past the glass roof above them. The wind, which had been gently rustling the pine trees all evening, grew quieter and quieter until it seemed to fall asleep entirely. Marmalade the cat, who had followed them over from his cushioned chair, curled up at their feet and closed his eyes. His purring slowed, then faded into soft, steady breathing. Even the frost roses along the path seemed to settle, their pale blue petals barely trembling in the still air. The little girl leaned her head gently against Elowen's shoulder, her eyelids growing heavy, her breathing slow and even. And then, so quietly that you might have missed it if you weren't listening closely, the tiny bell-shaped blossoms on the hush tree began, one by one, to chime. Ting, ting, ting. It was the softest sound in the world, softer than snowfall, softer than a whispered goodnight, like the very last note of a lullaby, drifting gently through the warm glass house air. The little girl smiled without opening her eyes. "There it is," she murmured, already half asleep. "There it is," Ilawan agreed softly, pulling a warm woolen blanket up over the girl's shoulders. "Rest now. You're safe here. The garden will keep watch." Outside, the snow kept falling, blanketing the glass house in soft white, gathering gently on every branch and windowsill and rooftop in the sleepy village beyond. Inside, the frost roses glowed a warm, quiet blue in the lantern light. Marmalade slept soundly by their feet, and the hush tree chimed its last few gentle notes, slower now, softer now, until the whole garden had settled fully into its deep winter hush. Elowen stayed there a while longer, watching over the little girl as she slept, listening to the quiet symphony of snowfall and soft breathing and the last faint echoes of the hush tree's bells. She thought, as she often did on nights like this, about how much the garden loved to give its quiet away. The frost roses gave their slow, gentle blooming. The hush tree gave its soft chimes, saved only for the calmest moments. Marmalade gave his low, steady purring, and the snow outside gave its own kind of hush, drifting down soft and unhurried, covering the whole sleepy village in white. It seemed to Elowen that the whole world, when it was truly at peace, sounded a little like this: quiet, slow, warm at its center, even in the coldest season. Later, once the girl had rested and the snow outside had softened into a gentle drizzle of flakes, Elowen would walk her safely home, along the quiet lantern-lit path, back to her family, who would be waiting warmly by their own fire. But for now, in this moment, there was only the garden and the quiet and the soft golden light. And if you find yourself growing sleepy too, right now, in your own warm bed, That's all right. That's exactly what the winter garden would want. Let your eyes grow heavy, the way the little girls did. Let your breathing slow, the way Marmalades did. Let every worry from today drift outside into the falling snow, soft and slow, the way frost roses unfurl one gentle petal at a time. Somewhere, far to the north, past the last quiet village and the last row of snow-dusted pine trees, the glass house is still glowing warmly in the dark. The frost roses are still blooming, slow and silent. Marmalade is still curled up by the stove, purring low and steady. And the hush tree is waiting, quiet and patient, for the next still and peaceful night. Rest now, the garden will keep watch. Somewhere, a lantern is still glowing softly against the dark. Somewhere, the snow is still falling, slow and gentle, settling over rooftops and pine branches and quiet garden paths. And somewhere, a small silver bell is waiting for the next still and peaceful night to arrive, so it can chime once more, soft and low, just for you.